So today's video is about motor system examination. So in central nervous system examinations, the one part is motor system examination. So let's see what it consists of. So motor system examination consists of the examination of bulk, tone, power, reflexes, gait and coordination. One by one, we'll be talking about all of these. So bulk. First of all, bulk of muscle. As the name shows, bulk means we have to assess the nutritional status of muscles, whether there is wasting of muscles or the normal circumference levels. So if we talk about muscle bulk, so we have to measure the circumference at some areas. Now to measure whether it's normal or abnormal, we should relate it with some bony landmarks, right? For example, if we want to measure arm circumference, then we have to relate it with some bony landmark, that is elbow, right? So from elbow, above the elbow and below the elbow on both the hand. So this is very important that for symmetry you will be assessing for both the hands, right? If you are assessing above the elbow on one hand, opposite hand at same distance should be measured, right? Now 5 centimeter above and below the elbow in both the arm. This way we can measure arm circumference. Same for the lower arm where the bony landmark is knee joint, right? So above the knee joint and below the knee joint. But if we are measuring above, then it should be fixed centimeter. If we are measuring 7 centimeter above the knee joint, on the other leg or lower arm, the same distance should be followed, right? So measuring the circumference. Even via just appearance of a client or subject, we can see whether the bulk of muscle is normal or not, right? Even the severe wasting we can see just by looking toward the subject, right? Apart from that, the muscle wasting can occur in lower motor neuron lesion, because if the motor supply is not proper, not intact, then it will lead to muscle wasting, right? The muscle will be flaccid, completely relaxed, and obviously disuse of that will lead to wasting, right? Nutritional deficiency we can assess here, and in some occupational or sports in athletes we can find hypertrophy, right? So increased bulk of muscle, right? So this is all about bulk. Coming to tone. Now tone, what is tone? Tone is nothing but resistance felt by examiner when moving a hand passively. This is a muscle tension which is present in resting state of muscle, right? So in resting condition, all our muscles have some tone present, tension present, which is called tone. Now that resistance is felt when we move a joint of client or subject passively, right? We will be passively moving. The subject will not have to apply any force, okay? So upper extremity will be seeing tone in wrist. For example, try to flex the wrist and see whether resistance is there or not. Try to flex the elbow, supporting the elbow, and see whether you are feeling resistance or not. Same for lower extremity, for knee, and so try to flex the knee and extend the knee and see whether you are feeling resistance during this action or not. Okay, so the tone, you may find decreased tone or you may find there is high resistance, that is increased tone. So the term used for these are hypotonia and hypertonia respectively. Now hypotonia. So decreased tone associated with normally muscle wasting, hyporeflexia. So the muscle have decreased tone, and whenever these occur in lower motor neuron lesion, hence which is normally associated with muscle wasting. Fine. So the muscle is called flaccid. This is flaccidity. Okay. Coming to hypertonia, which is nothing but high resistance you are feeling when you flex a joint, right? So there are two terms when we talk about hypertonia. One is spasticity, one is rigidity. Spasticity is hypertonia in one group of muscle, that is, for example flexors. If this is elbow and you are flexing it, you are doing flexion. of this elbow. So if you feel some resistance during this action, okay, so this type of hypertonia is called spasticity. For example, clasp knife spasticity. Rigidity, on the other hand, is hypertonia in both agonist and antagonist muscles. Say, for example, the same elbow, we can't flex it, or we feel resistance during flexion and we feel resistance during extension. So in this condition, if both agonist and antagonist, if both group flexors and extensors are involved, the term used is rigidity. In rigidity, there is, if all groups are involved and if we are doing throughout the range of motion, we are feeling rigidity and every group is involved, that is cogwheel rigidity. Cogwheel rigidity is present in extrapyramidal discs. Okay, so that's all about tone. Now power examination. So power is nothing but muscle strength. Now muscle strength, how can assess power? So muscle strength can be tested for every muscle group, but we have to do any activity of muscle and the subject have to apply a against force. So subject is asked to, for example, flex elbow, right? So to assess the power of flexor, subject is asked to flex the elbow, right? And we have to actually oppose the movement. Okay, so as you can see in the image, so we are saying here, pull me toward you. So the pull, basically, one is we are here, the subject is asked to flex and we are opposing it, right? So this way we can see power. Here we are extending and subject is asked to pull toward the subject, right? So opposite movement the subject is doing. For example, bicep, so he'll be flexing and will oppose the flexing. Fine. This way we can see the power of bicep. And if he is extending and will oppose the extension, this way we can see tricep power, right? This way, wrist, the metaphalangeal muscles, the flexors, the adductor and abductor group, the wrist extension and flexion group, okay, and the same elbow flexion and extension group, adduction and abduction group. This way for every muscle, okay, we can see the power of upper arm, right? Then we can see abdomen power. The subject is asked to sit without arm support. If the abdomen muscles are not paralyzed, he will be able to sit. If the abdomen muscles are paralyzed, he will not be able to sit. Diaphragm, we can see during inspiration there will be bulge in abdomen. But if it's paralyzed, the bulge will be during expiration. Coming to lower limb, the same way as we did for upper limb, all the flexors, extensors, abductors and adductors. At hip level, flexions, extension at knee level, and at ankle level, plantar flexion, dorsiflexion we can check out, right? The same way, applying a resistance and the subject is asked to do the respective movement, okay? Coming to now, we see the power. Basically, we have seen power. Now, how we'll grade this power? It's because of, depending on this grading system, we can grade this power. So, 0 is when there is no any contraction, okay? Totally relaxed, totally flaccid. 1 is feeble contraction you are feeling. Bits of contraction, the feeble contraction, okay? But unable to move a joint. Second is movement can be possible with gravity eliminated, 0 gravity. Then movement against gravity but not against resistance. Then movement against partial resistance, okay? And then full strength movement, any flexion, extension, whatever it is. So the normal power is 5th grading, okay? So this is all about the tone and the power, okay?